Hi everybody, and welcome back. And guess what today is? I'm really excited about today. Today, I'm actually starting seeds today. I know, you're all going, but wait, it's February. Yeah, I did the same thing, but my inner guidance kept telling me, no, now is the time. And luckily, I did some research last night and discovered that, yes, in fact, I do need to start my seeds now. I went through all of my seeds here. I keep all of my seeds year to year, whatever year it is. And the final tally of the seeds that I'm going to start will always be put in this. And I will, in this case, I have actually kind of organized them a certain way that I've never done before. But generally this will be the container I work from for all of the gardening that I'm going to do for that season. So this is what I found out last night. Now, as I said, I was really feeling like I need to start my seeds. And I started, I watched one of my favorite YouTubers, Becky at Acre Homestead. Hi. And she had a very important seed haul, basically. She was doing her seed haul video, and it was a great video. But she pointed out some very interesting things that I had never really explored before that I really should have. And some things that I also didn't understand. She talked about cold stratification. She talked about how she created an Excel spreadsheet so that she would know when to put her seeds in at what time. And all of a sudden it got me thinking, oh my goodness, this is like critically important information that I've never followed. Remember when I did my seed haul video and I talked about certain things that I replanted over and over and over and over, and they just would not germinate? Well, I found out why. Because I learned about, like she had, cold stratification. And it turned out all of the varieties that I kept having to replant that just wouldn't germinate, like the asters, for instance, they need cold stratification. I never knew that. I never did that. And of course, they never germinated. So I went through last night and I went through the basic list. I got my big old book here. My big book. And I made some notes, and I went through all of the seeds for 2024 that we're going to be planting together. And then I went through each individual packet and looked at the actual planting instructions. Now, a few off the bat did say you needed to cold stratify. And I'm like, aha, there were some that I was going to miss. But then I'm like, what if that particular seed company did not put that on the packet? Because it turns out a lot of them didn't. Like a lot. So actually from my notes, there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seed packets that needed to be cold stratified for a minimum of a month. Now, most of them called for, I just Googled it and I looked it up. Most of them called for between 4 to 8 weeks. But because of needing to get them ready, I know I can do a month, probably close to a month and a half to 2 months. So I can get in that window. So I'm pretty happy about that. I caught it in time, thank goodness, thanks to Becky, because I had never considered that. I figured it was something else I was doing wrong. As I said in my seed haul video, you know, I talked a lot about the algae problem that I had and overwatering and those kinds of things. But I didn't even know about cold stratification. And it's funny, too, because I had seen that. I mean, I've done lengthy research being, you know, a very new gardener. I have done my due diligence. I've done research, and yet I've seen that term and it never, you know, clicked up here that I kind of needed to look at that. You know, it's like, oh no, I will just put these seeds in the soil and it will grow magically. So yeah, so I learned something very important last night. And what I did was, after I pinpointed which ones needed to be cold stratified, I set those aside, double checked their planting dates, i.e. How many weeks before the last frost. And so those are actually upstairs in my refrigerator. And I took the option of just leaving the seeds in the packet. I tend to buy seeds every year, as most gardeners do. And I figured I'm just going to put the whole packet in there. They're safe and sound in a nice, like Tupperware dish, one of those little disposable food dishes, like you've seen me do on my bulk cooking videos. And I put the top on loosely so that air can still circulate and come and go. And I put it by itself in the bottom drawer of my crisper at the bottom of my fridge, which is really technically the coldest part of your refrigerator is the very bottom. So they're already up there. I put the date on a dry erase board on my fridge, and I'm just going to leave them be. Done. They're going to stay there. What I'm going to do, what I did after that was I then went through all of the seeds here, and I looked at each individual packet on the back, how many weeks before the last frost date, should they start being started, okay? And I made those into piles by their time period. Some were 2 to 3 weeks, some were 4 to 6 weeks, some were 6 to 8, 10, 8 to 10, that kind of thing. And I made all my piles, and then hopefully I did this right because I was doing this at about 2 a.m. I started from the back to the front, and the back being the shortest amount of time that it would take for them to, like, 2 to 3 weeks. So I can basically start those last because they're going to take the least amount of time. And then I worked my way forward to the ones that are going to take the longest, like rosemary, 8 to 10 weeks. So I'm going to start those today because here where I'm at, by April, I really can start planting. It's a rare thing where I'm at here in the South that I can't be planting the majority of the things by April. Now, in the 2 years prior, that never worked out, and I was generally really, really late getting to planting because of stuff. Personal stuff, physical issues, that kind of thing. And I was always like late to the party. So this year is probably my best year for everything: physical, emotional, well-being, my supplies, everything I need to get started, I'm there. And so basically it's all on me to just get it done. So I'm going to start the ones that need the most time today. And that actually works out to be quite a bit because, like I said, here by the 1st of April, we're pretty much good to go. You can start planting. You can just, do your thing. And they need to be hardened off and all of that. So I figure by the second week in April, I'm thinking the garden will be ready to go. That's going to be an upcoming video where I get that mess cleaned up because it's messy. But by that time, I'll be ready to transplant, and any of the others, like I said, I'm going to be following a schedule of from back to forward, so that the ones that take the least amount of time, just a couple of weeks to germinate, like some of the squash, the pumpkin varieties, like I think the sweet meat squash, and those are direct sow also, so they don't even need to be started indoors. So there's a lot of factors here. But after I did all of that, I went through and I listed them from when to do them. So I knew exactly which varieties needed to get started and when. So most of these, at the earliest ones, there are some 2 to 3 weeks that we don't need to worry about for quite some time. But I've got 6 to 8 weeks. I've got 8 to 10 weeks. Those are going to be all today. And those are, I think we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But on that also, I can start today also all of my 4 to 8 weeks because I can use that 8-week window. So if I want, I can go ahead and do that too. I've got my Vermont compost that I'm going to start with. I ordered an extra large heat mat because the kit that I got came with a heat mat, but it fits both, but not under both grow lights. So I got an extra large mat that'll be here in, I think, a few days. So I'm going to get busy on that. And I do have what's left of my poor plant identifiers here. I'm going to be getting some new ones. And I also found a pen that is put out that some gardeners swear by, and I can't quite remember the name. It's like Eddie or Edmund or something, but it's a permanent marker that is waterproof and kind of weatherproof to label these guys. So we're going to get busy on that. I'm going to start by getting the compost ready. I'm pretty sure that, well, I'll check it, but generally in the past, I've not had great seed starting mix, and you have to wet it, and it's all powdery, and it goes everywhere. So I'm going to check and see first what's it like, and do I need to water it and get it mixed and loosened up and all that happiness. And then I will be back and we will get our seed packets laid out and we're going to start planting. I'm excited. Be right back. Okay, so I got my bag out. I got my gloves. They're all upstairs being washed. Does this happen to you where you get a random glove? Last time I checked, I only had 2 hands. I have no idea where this other glove may be. I've got my matches here, but yeah, not quite sure what happened with that. It'll be in a random bucket somewhere on my property. I guarantee it. So, okay. So this basically looks pretty much good to go. Get my gloves on here at least a little bit. And pretty much what I'm going to do is make an incredible mess by just taking my dirt. I'm going to go ahead and just put it in, bring this guy out, and put the soil in and not fill it up all the way. Tamp it down just lightly, and then I'm going to start putting my seeds in, figuring out how many of each I want. I did not make a note of that, simply because I haven't decided. Some of the plants I'm going to do more of. Things like the San Marzano tomatoes I'm going to do more of because I'm making it for sauce. Things like the pole beans I'm probably going to do more of. Yeah, I mean, some will be like 3 or 4 cells, and then some will only be 2. Some may be 4, but I'm just going to kind of go with it as I go. But let me get the compost in first and see. First, I need to check and see if I need to kind of hydrate it a little bit. So let me check all that, and I'll be right back. I just checked it. Oh my goodness, this soil is so beautiful. It's slightly moist without being like, it's not soaked or anything, but it's slightly damp, and it feels like silk. It's beautiful soil. I'm so excited. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, got my solo cup. Wow, look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. It's really beautiful. I'm gonna make such a mess, but it is what it is. Yeah, there's not a lot of like the big stick thing that you get. It's not too bad, really. I've dealt with a lot worse, to be honest. Now, I know I got enough of the Vermont compost for seed starting. I have other soil that I'm going to be using out in the garden once we get to the actual transplanting stage. So, yeah, there are some rocks in here. I'm trying not to make a righteous mess here, but I'm going to make a righteous mess, let's face it. It just gonna happen. Okay. So 2 cups filled up 2 rows of these cells. So that's not too bad. I'm getting some real estate with it. Okay, I'm going to keep going with these, and I will be right back. Okay, now what I've done is, you saw me cover it. Now what I've also done is I've gone through and just tamped it down lightly. Not super hard, but just enough to get out any potential air pockets. And that's all I've done. A couple of these are really, really low. I'll put a little bit more in, re-tap it down with my fingers, and then we'll be ready to plant. Okay, what I've got here is, what did I say, 24 cells filled right now that are ready for seeds. And I'm going to start. I've got my pepper, my sweet pepper varieties here, and I'm probably going to start. How many do I want of those guys? I'm thinking like 2 cells per, let's see. Yeah, I'll do 2 cells each for each variety. So, okay, I'm gonna put my glasses on because some of these babies are small. They small, and yes, I'm gonna read the back of the packet this time. Let's see. Well, this actually doesn't, okay, 1/4 inch deep. I was going to say planting depth. But I guess the general rule of thumb here is you go twice as deep as the size of the seed, I believe, unless it specifies Like I learned last night that snapdragons you don't even cover because they need light to germinate. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning as that go. Now this is the emerald giant pepper. So I'm going to plant 3 per cell. Although I have a sneaking hunch that this is going to be a much more successful year, to say the least. Get 1 seed here. Okay, so that was our emerald giant pepper is what it's called. And I just dumped seeds. I think that's kind of a given when you're a gardener. You're just going to dump seeds at some point somewhere. And I like these because they generally reseal pretty well. I am going to put them face down out of the way. Now, a lot of my plant sticks have already been used. So I'm just going to run a line through it and flip it and put what it is. And I said emerald giant pepper. Emerald pep. Emerald pep. Okay. And I'm going to do that before I cover them with any more soil, because I really don't want to forget. I'm looking forward to trying out that new pen, because as you well know, if you garden at all, you know how all the writing on your identifier sticks just they disappear in no time, and you're like, well, I guess we're just gonna wait till it grows to figure out what it is. Okay, this is the Keystone Resistant Giant Bell Pepper. So I'm just going to say Giant Bell. So let me get a couple sticks. Beets. You notice most of these say beets. I've tried to grow beets in the past. And it's funny too because I actually have a love-hate relationship with these guys. Same planting depth too. I actually do not like the flavor of beets, but they're so good for you. And it makes me crazy. I tried planting them a bunch of times, and the universe just said, don't, plant what you like. That's the first rule of thumb of gardening, I believe, is plant what you love. Because if you don't love it, you won't eat it. I'm going to do the same with these guys. I'm just going to plant 3 per. Oh, I actually got out the exact amount of seeds I need. So 3 seeds per cell. I can thin later, although I'm very bad about not thinning and just letting things go wild, because it's so hard for me. And if you garden, you feel the same way. I know you've gone through this too, where you look, that they're healthy, they're beautiful. I don't want to kill it. I don't want to thin it out. I want them all. So, all right, this is my giant bell. I love bell peppers, but they do make me burp. I don't know why. But I've noticed that if they cook a little bit longer, like if I add them to like chilies or stews or something like that, I don't get that reaction. It's only when I eat them like fresh that, they cause the kickback, as it were. I don't know why I put that over there. It's not like I'm not going to need it again. Okay, so we got those guys done. We're making progress. So I'm going to take this just like the other one, and I'm going to set it aside. So I am going to keep moving on here. After this, we're going to be doing strawberries, which I'm going to be doing a lot of strawberries because I want strawberries this year. Now, these are actually not going in the in-ground garden. These are going in containers on the back deck, but we're going to try and shoot for a lot of strawberries this year. So that's going to be the next batch, and I'm just going to keep going. And then when we get to the stopping point here, I'm going to see how many more we need to do. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I have gotten planted so far all of the bell peppers here on this row. This entire row is my shallots, and then here are hot peppers. So I've got pepperoncini, the habaneros, the chili diarbol, that kind of thing. And then this whole row is rosemary. Now, guess what I did find out is I missed a packet that needs to be cold stratified, and that is the strawberries I was just talking about. So I went through and checked, So far, so good. That was the only packet I need to throw in the refrigerator. So no problem there. I filled up the current cells, and now I'm going to start working on these guys. These are all the 8 to 10 week ones that need to go in. And or actually the peppers here are 6 to 8 weeks, but I kind of made a little mistake there. But over here, the rosemary and I believe the shallots are the 8 to 10 week ones, I think. So, and I've got 4 packets here that are also 8 to 10 weeks. So we're going to do those next. And that is the hyssop, lemon balm, basil, and the English thyme. So I'm going to get busy on that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we've made some more progress. All of the 8 to 10 week varieties have been planted. And like I said, this whole area is all 8 to 10 week. So you've got holy basil, hyssop, you've got English thyme, the lemon balm. There are some 6 to 8 weekers right in here, but that's fine. It's still in the same window, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this tray with 6 to 8 week varieties. And then I'm going to stop there. In a couple of days, I mentioned that I'm going to get my other heat mat, and it's going to be an extra large one. So it's going to be basically twice the size. It's 40 by 20. That way I can put both of these end to end underneath my grow lights, which is a problem right now. I can't do that. Then I'm going to take this guy, which is the smaller of that, and I'm going to put it on my other table, which is right here. This is going to be the next table, and we're going to hang another grow light up in there. So heat mat will be here shortly, like I said, in just a couple of days, but I can at least get the ones that absolutely have to be started now started. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out, and I will be right back with you. Alrighty, everybody, we are back, and check it out. One whole tray planted. You'll notice that there's not tags in every hole. And that's because, again, as I spoke about earlier, I wanted to plant a certain amount depending on the plant. Like at the end over here, you'll see straw flower. I have 4 different varieties of straw flowers, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take 2 rows and just throw them in there. Now, those are surface sowed, so if you see little seeds, well, you're going to see them because they're surface sowed. I've got stock that goes all the way back here. So what I did was I put a marker in the front and then a marker at the back where it ends. So those stock flowers end right here. And then I've got 2 cells of sage. And over here, this entire row is chamomile. And this entire row right here is feverfew. I've got an entire row of the San Marzano tomatoes. So I'm stopping here for today. I'm going to get it lightly watered. I'm going to use a spray bottle so I don't dislodge any seeds. And then I'm going to get the lid on and plug in the heat mat. And it's begun, everybody. Gardening season has begun. Thank you for coming along with me. I really enjoyed spending time with you as always. And I'm very excited for this gardening season. I hope that you all are too, and I look forward to seeing you next time. It's going to be a lot of fun every time we get together. I just know that, and I really enjoy your company. Thank you for spending time with me. I will see you guys next time, and please take care, and I love you. Bye-bye.